Welcome back, you glorious people of the interwebs. Today we have got an absolutely insane deck for you. This thing will easily take you to Mythic in Magic the Gathering Arena. This is legal in all standard plays, so you can create this on paper or online or in Magic Arena, whichever you desire. But this deck is so stupidly powerful and has so many different ways to win. It's just amazing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you have any additional questions, because I do try and keep these videos around 10 minutes. That way I'm not wasting time and gives you pretty much the general idea of exactly how the deck is played. We're going to go over the cards in it, and then we're going to go into how it's played in actual games, and then we'll be done. So I hope you guys all enjoy this. Let's get right into it. We have got 3 Fanatical Firebrands in here. Mostly this is going to be for removal of creatures with 1 health. Then we've got 4 Shocks. Deals 2 damage to any target. We've got 4 Lenoir Elves, which is going to be really great for getting additional mana early in the game. And we've got 4 Lightning Strikes. We got a lot of early game removal if we need to between the Fanatical Firebrands, the Shocks, and the Lightning Strikes. Now, we come into our first game winner here, which is Growth Chamber Guardian. More often than not, this is kind of like a last resort because there's so much more powerful combos in this deck. But Growth Chamber Guardian, if you get this right off the bat with like a Lenoir Elves and a land, you're just going to be kicking ass. It's ridiculous. But we got 4 of those bad boys in here. And then we've got 2 Crawl Harpooners. Now, the great thing about this particular card, and you can put more in the deck if you so desire, when it goes into play, you can have it fight an already in play flying creature. Also, it has reach, and if there's a creature in your graveyard, it gains +1/+0 until the end of the turn. So really powerful card right there, only a 2 cost. It's amazing. Now, we've got our first Planeswalker, Domri, Anarch of Bolas. Now, I have 2 different Planeswalkers in here, and you can kind of adjust it depending on your personal playstyle, but I do like having both because we can put both into play, and we're able to +1 them for mana each time. So I do like having 2 different ones in this deck. So this guy gives you creatures +1/+0. You can +1 to add mana, and you can -2 to have them fight any other creature on the battlefield. Now, we've got Gruul Spellbreaker. This is kind of a filler card. You can swap this out for an extra of whatever you really want in the deck that doesn't already have 4. Put it in for another Planeswalker, or you can just keep it in the deck. It's not a bad card. It's a 3-cost 3/3 with Riot and Trample, which means you can make it have haste, or it becomes a 4/4. Really great card. You could put more of these in if you so desire as well. Now, we've also got Rekindling Phoenix in here. 4 of these bad boys. When they die, put a token onto the battlefield. Next, when that comes your turn, that token dies, and Rekindling Phoenix goes back into your hand. Actually, from your graveyard into the battlefield, and then it gains haste. So this card is super good. So good. So that's it's another combo right there. And we've got Domri Chaosbringer. You can +1 them for red or green, and mana spent on a creature this way gains Riot. So you can +1 it, or +1/+1, or it can gain haste. Then we've got Ilharg the Raze-Boar. It's a 5-cost, especially with Lenoir Elves and the dual lands. You're going to be getting mana really quickly. You'll be able to play this usually by turn 3. It's amazing. But then we've got its combo. We've got 4 of these bad boys in here, and we've got God Eternal Rainos in here. Ranos? I'm not 100% sure. But this guy, when he enters the battlefield, doubles the power of all other creatures on the field. So what you do is you use Ilharg to put this guy into play, doubles the power of all of your creatures. Ilharg already has Trample, makes him a 12/6. It's insane. And then once the turn is over, this card goes back into your hand, and you can replay it again next turn. Incredibly powerful combo. I would recommend putting another one. Even, I don't know if I would put 4 in, but 2 is really good. Maybe 3. It's kind of be up to your personal playstyle. The way we've got it set up right now, I have not lost with this, and I've been playing with it for a while. And we've got 2 Carnage Tyrants in here, which is really going to come into play. This will be really great against control decks or with the Ilharg combo. And we've got Galta Primal Hunger. And you can put another one of that in there if you so desire. More often than not, I don't even use it, but it's in there just for like a shock and awe kind of card. It's got Trample. Great card. You can put more in if you want. I only have 1 in. It's been great. Now we've got 9 mountains, 8 forests, 4 root-bound crags, and I didn't have a 4th stomping ground, so I went with 3. Usually I would go with 4 and take out a mountain. That way we got 8, 8, 4, and 4. We'd be good to go. Now, that is the deck. Let's go ahead and get into the gameplay of it, and you'll see just how ridiculous this is. Now, there are a ton of different ways you could play this deck. We got a pretty overpowered hand here right off the bat, and we've got a forest and an elf already. So we play those two, and we've already got 3 mana on the second turn, which is pretty darn good. We've already got a total of 4, so we can get our first Phoenix out on turn 3. We've got Growth Chamber and that Dinosaur, which is pretty much going to be free by the time we decide to play it. My opponent played an elf in the first turn as well, and one thing to keep in mind with Magic the Gathering Arena is it always wants to tap your lands first. Here we need to actually manually tap them so we can play Growth Guardian, and then we're going to use Shock to remove the elf because I don't want my opponent to get any sort of mana advantage early in the game either. So we're going to try and remove these as much as possible if they do decide to play more of them. I'm really glad I decided to get rid of that elf. They've got a Growth Chamber Guardian out now as well, and I can freely play my Rekindling Phoenix here without any concern. Now, I do want to try and trade Growth Chamber Guardians. I don't think he's going to block with it, but if it does play another mana next turn, he could turn it into a 4/4, but really for me, that's not too much of a concern. I can block with the Phoenix and get it back. So here, there's really no risk for us right now. Oh, yes, another Rekindling Phoenix on our next turn. Opponent still got the Growth Chamber Guardian and a Monkey that he put into play, which is a 0/3. We're going to play the Rekindling Phoenix here, get another flyer in here, and this will predominantly do a lot of damage already. And our Dinosaur is going to be a 2-cost next turn, as long as we don't lose any creatures here, which we won't. So this game's pretty much over already. Trading Growth Chamber Guardians is exactly what I wanted. He's got no creatures on the field. We've still got 2 Phoenixes and our elf. Our Dinosaur is now a 3-cost. We can actually play all the cards in our hand next turn. Depending on what we draw, we might want to play something else. We got the Gruul Spellbreaker there. Not too shabby. Can't hit our flyers, but it's really not going to help them out here much either. Oh, and here we go. We've got the God Eternal. Oh my goodness, this is perfect. So we could put this in here and get rid of his elf if we so desire. It's a 1-cost, and it doesn't really matter because it's going to reduce the cost of our Dinosaur. We can put him in, tap him, and destroy that elf if we so desire. Right now, we've got enough damage on the field to do whatever we want. Let's get rid of his elf. We don't need extra mana for our opponent. We don't need that card anyways anymore. So now we can attack with 8s in the air, and next turn he's dead. Unless this person wants to really waste my time, they're probably just going to give up. Now, obviously, this is not always going to be the case in how this plays out. This is a really powerful hand, and I'll show you kind of how this plays out with a worse hand, or worse draw. So I thought I had recorded something where I got a bad hand and it took like 12 turns, maybe actually closer to 20 turns, before I actually even got anything out, because all I was pulling was land. It was ridiculous. But this one, I pulled 3 elves and 3 lands and a boar. That might seem terrible at first, but this means you have so much mana so quick that we can just do insane things with this. My opponent's got a flying creature I can't quite deal with right now. So we're going to go ahead and play our lands here and play more elves. So we've already got 4 mana on turn 2. We're going to play one of these bad boys, and next turn, we should be able to play Ilharg, and then our Phoenix the turn after that. Now, we pulled a Shock on this turn, and I've updated the deck since this happened. I have no longer any lands in the deck that tap when you play them, like this particular card, because if that didn't happen, we'd be able to play Ilharg this turn or use Shock. But since I screwed it up and I had a land that tapped in the deck, we're going to play Shock, get rid of one of the flyers, and then we'll play Ilharg or the Phoenix next turn. My opponent played a 1/1 flying creature with lifelink and is about to play this Favorable Winds. I want to get rid of that flying with lifelink before that activates. That way we deal the 1 damage, that gets off the field. Now he's only got 1 flying with lifelink. A hell of a lot better than 2. We played Ilharg last turn, so I'm going to go ahead and use this to have it fight one of the flyers so we can get one of those right off the field right away. And then we're going to attack with Ilharg after this guy destroys that one, which will allow us to put our Phoenix into the field as well. And since he's got no blockers, we're going to be able to do 10 damage in 1 turn, which is pretty great. So let's go ahead and do that. We could also just play the Phoenix, but I'd really like to get the haste. So we're not going to worry about playing it. The haste is going to be a lot better than playing it and using it next turn, because we can do it 2 turns in a row, and that should be the win. Very powerful combo. So I had a brain fart here and played the Phoenix instead of using the haste off of Ilhard. Would have been the much better play, but we're just going to go ahead and play that. We'll put our other little dude here in attack, I guess. And regardless, we've got this game under lock. Even with the trample, we're still going to be able to plow through a little bit of damage, and it's pretty much game over. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did and or found it useful, feel free to leave a like. It really helps out, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's free. It can't hurt nobody. We'll have plenty more Magic the Gathering Arena build videos, as well as booster box openings, financial videos for paper if you're curious about investing in Magic the Gathering. Lots and lots of content coming in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.